Christian von Koenigsegg, founder and CEO of the high-performance automaker Koenigsegg, revealed a next-generation engine technology that could displace electric vehicles entirely at a tightly controlled, invite-only event hidden from public view, and attended by only top automotive elites and industry giants. He introduced the revolutionary engine design, a monster in itself with power and torque like you can't believe, presented in a very friendly way. An innovation that isn't just a step forward, but the start of a whole new automotive era inside the camless revolution. Christian von Koenigsegg didn't just stroll onto the event at the old airbase runway in Engelholm, he owned the moment. Under the soft glare of studio lights, he brought out a short, wide-bodied carbon fiber test mule, tapped a button, and suddenly silence gave way to something entirely new. Gone was the mechanical chatter of cams and chains, replaced by a clean, sharp hiss. That sound came from dozens of tiny air-driven pistons firing with mind-bending speed and precision. This was Koenigsegg's lightweight engine running on a radical system called free valve. There's no camshaft, no timing belt, just ultra-fast pneumatic actuators, all controlled by artificial intelligence adjusting every valve hundreds of times per second, which means more power from each drop of fuel and way less waste. This wasn't some wild last-minute invention. Koenigsegg and his engineers have been refining free valve for nearly a decade. Back in 2016, they shocked everyone by fitting it into a little 1.6-liter Chrysler hatchback. The results were wild. 47% more power, 45% more torque, and 15% less fuel use, all of that just by ditching the camshaft. That success proved free valve wasn't just a cute gimmick, it could work even beyond commuter cars, so Koenigsegg's team kept going, upgrading the actuators, improving the AI, and perfecting the oil-air hydraulics until the system was tough enough to survive inside a world-class hypercar. The first real-world result, a beast of a motor nicknamed the Tiny Friendly Giant. It's a 2-liter 3-cylinder twin-turbo that delivers 600 horsepower, yes, 600, from an engine that weighs just 154 pounds. Stick it inside the 4-seat Gemera prototype, and this Mega GT goes from 0 to 60 mph in under 2 seconds. Keep your foot down, and it'll hit 248 mph. The trick is constant valve control. At cruising speeds, the engine sips fuel gently, but the second the turbos kick in, the valves snap open fully for maximum power, letting the engine act calm or crazy depending on what your right foot is doing. But Koenigsegg didn't stop there. Pair that tiny friendly giant with his new in-house electric motor, the dark matter, and things go nuclear. The motor alone weighs just 86 pounds but makes 800 horsepower and 922 pound-feet of torque. Put the two systems together, and you get a hybrid pushing out 1,700 horsepower and a jaw-dropping 2,581 pound-feet of torque at the wheels. All of that power gets routed through Koenigsegg's custom 9-speed multi-clutch gearbox, which lets the car instantly jump from one gear to another. It's called light speed for a reason. Still, brute force was never the only goal. Koenigsegg and his team became obsessed with efficiency. Free Valve's dyno tests already show it climbing toward the magic number 50% thermal efficiency, which is nearly double what old-school muscle cars managed, and it's possible because this engine doesn't waste heat. Every cylinder breathes exactly what it needs. No more, no less. When the car is idling, the engine just closes all the valves and waits. It barely uses fuel at all until you press the pedal again, and it's not picky about what you feed it. This engine can run on regular gas, pure methanol, Brazilian ethanol, even synthetic e-fuels made from captured carbon and clean electricity. Fill it up with Sweden's INT5 biodiesel or straight-up e-methanol, and you get almost net zero carbon emissions without needing to dig more lithium or strain the power grid. But torque is cheap in the world of supercars, so in early June 2025, Koenigsegg opened up the old Air Force hangar at their headquarters in Engelholm and invited a few test drivers and journalists to see the thing run. They watched a stripped-down Gemera prototype, still wearing sensors but no camouflage, rocket down the runway on a tank filled with 95% ethanol. It hit 60 miles per hour in just 1.9 seconds, again and again, and braked well before the markers at the end. The test log showed every detail: exact valve events, fuel trim adjustments, exhaust temps. The onboard AI was making real-time tweaks, shaving off drops of fuel while keeping the engine cool enough to protect the turbos. Many still crave the feeling of a real engine. Slashgear's year-long series on drivers who refused to give up manual gearboxes broke traffic records. People kept coming back to the same reasons: sound, vibration, and a sense of control. They said that's what's missing from most electric cars. Koenigsegg's Lightspeed engine speaks to that crowd. It delivers the sound and feel of combustion without the climate guilt, cutting carbon emissions close to zero when it runs on renewable methanol. So drivers still get the thrill, while regulators still get to sign off. The economics are catching up too. Bloomberg Nef's most cautious projections still show that entry-level battery SUVs could cost the same as gas-powered ones by 2028, but Koenigsegg's internal supplier estimates put a light hybrid powertrain within 20% of that price point, as long as synthetic fuel is taxed at the same rate as regular gasoline. And in places where ethanol is already blended into the fuel supply, that price match could happen even sooner, because the infrastructure is already there. Jobs are just as important in this equation. A recent study by the International Council on Clean Transportation found that battery cell factories need about 144 workers per gigawatt hour, but most of those jobs are concentrated in just a few big facilities. On the other hand, a camless retrofit strategy like Koenigsegg spreads the work across existing engine plants, assembly lines, and dealerships, that keeps more people employed in more places. It's a model that unions in the US, Midwest, and lawmakers in Germany are now paying close attention to. They worry that if battery megafactories become the only game in town, jobs and value could drain out of their home region. Looking ahead, the data points toward a future of coexistence rather than one technology beating all the others. Bloomberg Nef now expects global sales of electric passenger cars to pass 39 million per year by 2030, with battery vehicles eventually dominating the market. But the International Energy Agency's net zero roadmap shows the fastest emissions cuts come when small high-city cars go electric, while heavier-duty vehicles in rural areas rely on ultra-efficient engines burning low-carbon fuels. That kind of mixed system lets each technology do what it does best instead of trying to force one solution on everything. Right now, the foundational pieces of this new automotive paradigm are rapidly and decisively coming together, creating a convergence that promises to redefine personal mobility. Forward-thinking governments worldwide are progressively writing more inclusive and technology-neutral regulations that allow any genuinely clean technology, be it battery electric, hydrogen fuel cell, or advanced combustion running on carbon-neutral synthetic fuels, to compete on a level playing field based on their real-world environmental impact, rather than picking a single winner based on ideology. Simultaneously, major automakers are making strategic long-term investments in synthetic fuel production plants and supply chains as a crucial insurance policy, hedging their bets just in case battery technology encounters unforeseen limitations in raw material sourcing, charging infrastructure, or consumer acceptance over the long distance. Meanwhile, a significant and vocal segment of drivers continues to be powerfully drawn to the visceral, emotional experience and mechanical symphony of real internal combustion engines, a deep-seated connection that pure electrification has so far struggled to replicate. Compounding this shift, the once yawning price gap between these diverse powertrain options is now closing faster than many analysts predicted, making advanced technologies increasingly accessible. Christian von Koenigsegg has articulated this philosophy before, and it bears repeating in this transformative moment. There is no compelling need to pick just one single monolithic path for the entire automotive future. True innovation is not a zero-sum game where one technology must vanquish all others. Whether you ultimately end up with the whisper-quiet, instantaneous torque of a refined electric motor, or the fierce, mechanically symphonic growl of a camless free-valve engine running on sustainable fuel, the real victory for consumers, for the industry, and for the planet is having a genuine and viable array of choices. This is because the best drivetrain for your specific lifestyle, driving needs, and personal values might not be the best solution for your neighbor, and for the first time in a long while, after years of being funneled toward a single technological destiny, that profound power of choice is finally, meaningfully back in your hands. Thanks for watching.